Halloween is here, and here's the big question. Should your costume include a jacket? You will not need your umbrella. I'm Renee.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey in for Chris Lovingood. Yeah, the answers are in our WREL Severe Weather Center. That's where Elizabeth Gardner has your trick-or-treat preview. It's a nice level of setting.
It is, and I think all of us parents and kids, too, are thankful to see this blue sky after all of the gray and wet days that we saw this week. This is a live look at North Hills. 59 is our temperature, and our wind is coming out of the southwest at 14. It's breezy out there right now, so if you have some of those inflatable Halloween decorations, they might be floating around a little bit. You want to make sure you've got them staked down well. We're seeing winds gusting to 22 miles per hour in Rocky Mount, Durham, and Raleigh, as well as Fayetteville, 21 in South Hill, and 18 in Southern Pines. Now, once we get to the evening, we're going to see the winds beginning to taper off. We'll see a high this afternoon around 64, and our trick-or-treat time temperatures will be down into the 50s once we get to, say, 7 o'clock. But if you're headed out early with the little kids, 63 at 5 o'clock, 61 at 6 p.m., and 58 at 7 o'clock. We take a look at this weekend. It looks gorgeous both Saturday and Sunday. Temperatures will be near normal in the mid-60s, but we do have some cold mornings tomorrow morning and Sunday morning. Part of the viewing area will be down into the 30s. We'll talk about who's under a frost advisory, and then the potential for some rain Sunday night into Monday. We'll check that out too coming up.
Well, one of the largest Atlantic hurricanes ever recorded made its mark on the Caribbean. New information released in the last hour says at least 48 deaths are attributed to the storm. And with recovery underway, we are likely to learn more. NBC's George Solis is in Jamaica, where the damage is overwhelming.
Search and recovery missions continue here in hard-hit Jamaica. Unfortunately, the death toll does appear to be climbing. Our team making it into Montego Bay yesterday, one of the hardest hit areas, also a tourist capital here on the island. On the way, we saw many things, many treacherous terrains with light poles, debris on the ground, people at one point pulling off to the side of the road to get cell phone service. It was the first bit of communication they've been able to get out to their loved ones. We were talking to people as the messages were coming in. As we hit another town near Montego Bay in Trelawney, there were two large lines there of people, all of them looking for gas, some of them there with just containers, others with their cars, police there on site to make sure things stay orderly. And as we got into Montego Bay, so many of those resort properties that people come here for decimated by the storm. Some people actually still staying in some of those hardest hit hotels because they were waiting to see when they could get a flight out of Montego Bay. So they were essentially stranded there. Many checking flights daily, many seeing if they could fly out of Kingston. A lot of flights coming in now, some of the relief flights in commercial, but still it is going to be some time for those that need access to any of those flights. Officials saying specifically about the Montego Bay Airport, it's going to be a phased reopening, but it might take weeks for it to be fully operational. And here on the ground, the work to get aid into some of the hardest hit communities already underway. Organizations like Global Empowerment Mission already starting to coordinate and get resources staged to get it into those areas that are going to need it the most. Back to you.
Day by day trying to recover, but it's good to see some aid at least moving in there after Melissa tore through the Caribbean. And Elizabeth, right now, where is Melissa?
So Melissa, as a hurricane, is no longer. It's a post-tropical cyclone. That just means it's lost all of its tropical characteristics. And when you take a look at it, you see it doesn't really look like a hurricane anymore. However, it does still have 85-mile-per-hour winds, and it is going to move the center of circulation right here, right past Newfoundland, and so that is potentially going to cause some minor damage, some heavy surf, that sort of thing along the coastline of Newfoundland. So might be some minor damage there. It is helping to push some cloud cover well into Canada, and again, the center is just going to move right out here into the Atlantic, and that's going to be the end of it. So the next towns out in rural areas or low-lying areas where those temperatures bring us a little bit of patchy frost. Same thing again for Sunday morning. So Saturday morning and Sunday morning, temperatures will be in the mid to upper 30s. If you do still have some houseplants out on your porch, you definitely want to go ahead and bring those in because of the chilly temperatures that we'll end up seeing. Mid-60s for today as well as the weekend. We do set our clocks back 1 hour. Of course, on Saturday night, we go back to standard time. And then looking ahead to Sunday night and Monday, the computer models have been back and forth over how much or when we would see rain to wrap up the weekend and into the day on Monday. Coming up, we'll talk more about how that is looking. All right.
I'm here right now in the WRL Severe Weather Center with Elizabeth. Of course, everybody wondering what the Halloween forecast is going to be for today and the trick-or-treaters, but this is eye-catching. The frost advisory expanded.
Yes, so it now includes almost all of the triangle, and earlier it was just some of our northwestern and western counties. So I'll show you what that looks like. And then, of course, it's been a beautiful day so far, and nothing scary coming our way for trick-or-treat time either, unless you just don't like it cold, because it is going to be cold in the morning tomorrow. There's that frost advisory, and it was expanded to include Durham County as well as parts of, or all of Wake County and parts of our north and eastern counties as well, all the way up from, say, Wilson County to the Virginia line. So a much bigger chunk of the area. This is a look at some of the temperatures. 33 Roxborough, 36 South Hill. We tend to see the coldest temperatures of the day right around sunrise, right around 7 o'clock in the morning. 35 in Southern Pines. I feel like probably from Raleigh south and east, we're not likely to see much of a chance for any frost, but really from, say, northern Wake County, northward and then westward, we have that possibility. And you may say, well, the temperatures are in the mid-30s. So certainly, right at the sensors, we may not see freezing temperatures, but if you are moving from those sensors down to a low-lying spot or out into the country, you may have a better chance of seeing some patchy frost. Our temperatures remain pretty pleasant, mainly in the mid-60s all the way through Tuesday, and then a bit of a warm-up by the middle and the end of next week. We could see a high of 70 again by Thursday. Our only temperatures that are in the 30s in the morning will be Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, and that extra hour sleep this weekend? That'll be nice. Dictionary.com's word of the year isn't a word at all. It's a phrase. 6-7, the viral phrase that has no meaning or a number of meanings, depending on who you ask, earned the distinction. Even though it can be annoying to adults, linguists say it is serving an important role as social glue. It is definitely big in middle schools. Because of slang, it's already on its way out, though, since it has become mainstream enough for adults to be talking about it. Because, Michelle, when adults start talking about it,
it's not cool
it's
anymore.
not cool anymore.
All right, well, you can go back in time. This is cool. You can go back in time with Back to the Future this weekend. The 80s classic will be in theaters to celebrate 40 years since its original release. Screenwriter Bob Gale says the movie almost didn't make it, didn't get made. The script was rejected more than 40 times before a studio took a shot, and they say the rest, as we say, the rest was history.
Coastal Carolina scares off Marshall on Halloween Eve. Every October, Conway, South Carolina temporarily renames itself the City of Halloween, South Carolina, for a month-long celebration. It was only fitting that the Chanticleers embrace the Halloween spirit with new jerseys and helmets with glow-in-the-dark accents. Coastal knocked off Marshall 44-27.
Renee, look at their home with the scariest thing they could think of for Halloween, an enormous pigeon. A huge bird stretches across multiple windows of a home in the West Village. There's a flock of normal-sized pigeons along with it as well. With unsettling eyes and lifelike feathers, the residents say they've had plenty of comments on their decorations. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, annoying, but I don't know about terrifying. I suppose the giant pigeon looks terrifying. Most people think of black cats on Halloween, but our pet of the day is asking you to go gray. This is Remy. If you want to meet Remy, contact SPCA of Wake County or spcawake.org. NBC News Daily is next on WRL, your next local news update in 30 minutes. Happy Halloween! Happy Halloween!